Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your weekly injection of mind-numbing local news. And this is episode 312 now. We are recording on the 3rd of May, myself and Rob at noon, Rob. High noon.
Yeah, it's the time when it's socially acceptable to start drinking, and it is a Sunday, so that's even better.
Yeah, you look like you've had a bit yourself already, but hopefully we'll make it through. High noon at the Local Anesthetic Saloon. That'd be an interesting place with some very bizarre characters in it, to be honest, Rob.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of second-rate journalists just sitting around, trying to find a story, maybe speak to the barman, see if they got any tidbits, that kind of thing.
I was more talking about our listeners. Anyway.
Oh, I see. Well,
Rob, before we get on to local anaesthetic news, like we always like to open with, I've got to mention something. There is a show which is on Netflix, which everybody's been talking about for ages, but I've only just got round to watching, and I've only watched one episode, but it seemed very relevant to a topic we cover in this podcast, and that is a documentary on Netflix called Tiger King. Have you heard of it? Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it, but I know it's set the internet ablaze, and it's something I think I will get round to at some stage.
Right, so it's absolutely extraordinary. Again, evidence that we're maybe living in some kind of weird, different dimension. Because honestly, the South Park guys couldn't write this. The premise of the show is about this guy. Well, there are lots of them dotted around the United States who have these private zoos, and they're basically obsessed with big cats. And when I say big cats, I mean full-grown tigers, lions, panthers, and they have loads of them. People come and visit them. This guy, Rob, I can't remember what it was a year, 20 grand a year, or maybe a week or something. I can't remember what it was, just on feeding these things. Obviously, they raw meat. But watching it, my mind couldn't help be turned to thinking of Eagle Heights, which is a small safari park, in quotes, which Rob and I have covered many times, which is down in Ainsford in Kent. Rob, it's absolutely extraordinary. I highly recommend watching Tiger King, and I hope I'm not ruining anything for you. Well, I know I'm not, because it's all there in the first episode. The first episode starts with you realising this guy is now in jail.
Right.
And he's in jail because he's got this running feud with this animal rights sort of activist who's all about saving big cats and doesn't believe they should be kept in this manner. And he ends up trying to take out a private hit on her.
Oh my God. Right, okay. Yeah, like I said, it's something that does appeal to me, so I will give it a watch.
But it makes me think, Rob, that I would love to see a documentary about Eagle Heights, because like everything with the UK compared to the United States, it would really be the far more low budget, shittier version.
Oh God, yes it would be. Can you remember back in the 90s there used to be a thing called the Cook Report? I think it was Roger Cook? I think it was.
That's it, Roger
Cook.
It was Roger Cook. But it was that was the he was what's the word I'm thinking of, a pioneer really, because the whole what's that form of reporting called now where you sort of bomb, so
I don't know.
It's got a name.
Yeah,
it's got a name where you just sort of but you see it all the time now. People like catching a chief executive walking out of their house and going, "Why are you using a sweatshop in China or whatever?" But but you're saying he'd do it. Bring Roger Cook back to do an expose on Eagle Heights.
But I'd hope they'd keep it with the same sort of production values where it's on a handy cam. He'd be walking around a trading estate in Maidenhead, that kind of thing. Where it's maybe just him and a cameraman with a boom mic operator, and that's about it. Nothing else. I don't want to see any fancy graphics. I just want him on the street talking to the equivalent of, well, it'd be Alan Ames, wouldn't it? Really?
Well, no. I love the idea, Rob, that it would be this expose of what's going on at Eagle Heights, and then they travel out to Africa to track down Alan Ames, who, as we know, is there somewhere. And a bit like in Apocalypse Now, when they find Marlon Brando, they find him holed up somewhere. He's lost his mind, Rob. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
He's completely lost his mind. Oh my God, it's brilliant.
Well, on the subject of Eagle Heights, I mean, we don't plan this podcast. We've said it many a time. We actually have an Eagle Heights.
I think that much is evident.
Yeah. We
do research the stories beforehand, Rob. To be fair,
that's true. But we don't deliberately make sure that they kind of neatly fit together. So yeah, Steve has been in contact with the latest from Eagle Heights.
Our roving Eagle Heights correspondent. Can I just say, Rob, considering the amount of, the salary we pay him every year, I think we probably get 2 to 3 Eagle Height reports at best.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, his exorbitant salary really doesn't justify the amount of stories he produces for us.
We do pay him in beans, though.
Yeah, but a shitload of beans.
You're right.
So this is from the Kent Online. The story is from the 7th of April. Animal centres are appealing for food and donations following a decline in fundraising due to the coronavirus.
Oh my God.
Eagle Heights. I mean, we speculated this, didn't we?
Last episode, last local anaesthetic episode, I covered a story from a zoo in Germany where the zookeeper said that because of the financial climate, they might have to start feeding the animals to each other. That was a great segment, that, Rob.
It was.
And we did speculate about what might happen. That probably Eagle Heights have done that already. I think they're probably only down to like one vole now, Rob.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's all they've got left.
Yeah, just selling the animals off, really. I mean, I'm sure that might have happened. Can I also just apologise? If anyone does hear a banging in the background, I think it's my upstairs neighbour. She has a nasty habit of doing exercises, which sounds like she's coming through the fucking ceiling. But anyway, we'll come. Try not to worry too much about that. It's quite faint. But
how do you know she's doing exercises, Rob?
Well, she could be.
Remember that story we had about that man? You did it. That man in Bali who stripped naked and started banging his head against the floor and screaming "America." Does she?
Sorry.
Does she scream America?
I mean, I'm hoping she's a true patriot, so she'll be screaming England as she smacks her head on the floor.
Right.
Anyway, so Eagle Heights near Ainsford is holding a campaign to help with the running costs of the Wildlife Foundation. Waitrose in Sevenoaks is donating fruit and vegetables to the centre, but Eagle Heights staff are still having to order the specific foods that the birds of prey eat, as well as alpaca feed and meat for carnivals such as the African servals and huskies. UK.
Do they still have cheetahs on Eagle Heights?
No, I think they've gone a long time ago.
Because I just think a great fundraising campaign would be Eagle Heights, right? So, yeah, shag a cheetah. Right, so it's a raffle, and whoever wins it gets a night with a cheetah.
Oh God, and people would donate to that. Let's be honest. If anyone,
I would.
If there's anyone that does have a spare £10, you can go on to crowdfunder and if you just search for
no. Sorry, can I stop? Can I encourage listeners, if they're listening, either donate to this podcast or maybe some cause to help, like the NHS food bank, something like that. If Eagle Heights, should I say this? Okay, no, we don't want any business to be a casualty in these circumstances. Yes, I understand.
And the campaign has been set up by Samantha Ames, which I'm guessing is Alan's wife, don't know. And so far has raised £2,455.
Daughter, I think, Rob.
Daughter, there we go.
He's married to a big cat.
Of course, yes.
Can I just say, throughout all of this segment, it's bizarre that I've just noticed that behind your head, Rob, as all this segment that we were talking about, Tiger King and Eagle Heights, there is a sign on your kitchen behind your head that just says, "Beware of the cat." Never could that have been more appropriate.
One other piece of news, and I think if anyone is looking for just a quick 5 minutes of entertainment, that's not, I'm not advertising my services. Khyber basically sent us a story which featured waxworks from the Louis Tussauds House of Wax in Great Yarmouth.
Oh my God!
It's a car crash.
Are you not featuring it because obviously you've got to see them?
You need to see them. They're very, very visual.
Okay, can I at least go and see them now? Then, Rob, go on, tell me.
So it's the Louis.
What do I type into Google?
Louis Tussauds. Maybe a wax, Great Yarmouth, and the article he sent was actually from the Traitorous Guardian, and there is some absolute corkers in there.
Okay, hang on. The world's worst wax museum in pictures.
That's the one.
Right. Okay. So it's opened. It's opened immediately. To be fair, the picture that it opened on immediately, I could recognise as Kylie and Jason. I mean, they look like they've been resurrected from the dead, sort of thing.
It goes downhill from there.
Sorry, let's go through these. Who's that? Sean. How the fuck is that Sean Connery? I know Sean Connery's tanned, but he's been tanned. Okay, anyway. Kylie and Jason are horrific. I'm trying to guess who they are without looking at them. Right. The third one, I've got no idea, but he's wearing an England FC tracksuit. So I'm assuming it's a footballer. So therefore, I'm assuming that's John. Oh my God, it's Michael Owen.
Yeah. I when I saw that, I thought I've literally no idea who that's supposed to be.
Oh my God, sorry. The fourth one. Okay, so he's wearing some kind of military jacket and some strange red hat. Is that meant to be some kind of Russian thing? Is that Vladimir Putin? Benito Mussolini.
That famous
waxwork of Mussolini.
No, Alex, it gets more bizarre as you go down the page.
Sorry, is that Borat on the fifth? That's not Daley. Fucking Daley Thompson. Okay, Victoria and the David Beckham one isn't that bad. The Victoria one's odd. Sorry, Prince Charles looks like Prince Harry mixed with Prince Charles.
Yeah, I don't remember Prince Charles being ginger. That was quite a different one. Jane
Torville isn't bad.
How did I miss Jane Torville?
Oh my god! Why is Hitler orange?
Have you got to know?
He looks like he's made out of gold. No. Oh, don't ruin it for me. The Beatles are fucking awful.
Yeah, the Beatles bear no
Michael
resemblance.
Jackson. Oh my god. Boy George. Oh my god. Elvis Presley looks like Steven Seagal.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Sorry, Tony Blair looks nothing. That could just be anyone.
Yep. Agreed.
Sarah Ferguson. No, that's not that bad. Cliff Richard. Sorry, Cliff Richard looks more like Michael Jackson than Michael Jackson does. Look,
it does. Yeah, it does.
They're like Ghoulish and Prince William. So are these for real? The Mr. Bean isn't bad, but it looks. Do you know what it also looks like? Can you look at the Mr. Bean for me?
I've seen it before. Let me bring up the article. Oh yeah, got it. Yeah.
Now. It looks like a bit like George Osborne.
What's with the quiff and the eyebrows?
Sorry, what's Gary Lineker underneath him? How's that Gary Lineker?
Wow.
This is the best story ever. How did you... This is the best story ever. I need to save this now and send it to people.
Prince William looks like
these are genuinely terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I say, Prince William looks like he's been bleaching his skin. He's kind of like a ghostly white.
A lot of them are. Yeah. Can I just say that I think hell, if there is a hell, being in a room just with these lot would be terrifying.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's quite astonishing. I would encourage people to. I will post the story onto the Facebook the Facebook page because people do need to see it.
Okay, Rob. Let's move on with this. I've got some stories. This is from a normal tech website, which is a very good website called Ars Technica, but it's a very well written story. It's by John Brodkin, and it was from the 20th of April of this year. Because I'm starting off with two pieces of coronavirus news here.
Okay.
Church, in quotes, claims bleach is coronavirus curing sacrament and faces wrath of the FDA, which, for any of you who don't know, stands for the Food and Drug Administration in the United States. Rob, this is a great story.
I have to say, there was a very similar story in the UK, actually in Southwark.
Oh my... Are you featuring it?
No, because it's horrific.
Right. A federal court has ordered... but this is funny. A federal court has ordered the Genesis 2 Church of Health and Healing to stop distributing... I love Genesis 2 Church of Health and Healing. To stop distributing a bleach product that Genesis claims is a cure for COVID-19 and many other health problems. The US government sued Genesis on Thursday, alleging that it violated the federal Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act with labelling for its so-called Miracle Mineral Solution, MMS.
Yep, I'm aware of this.
Also known as Master Mineral Solution. Genesis website contains claims that MMS is intended to cure, mitigate, treat or prevent coronavirus, which includes COVID-19, and links to testimonials claiming that it also cures a litany of other diseases, including, among others, Alzheimer's, autism, brain cancer, HIV/AIDS, and multiple sclerosis. Despite its name, the church is, in quotes, according to their website, a secular entity based in the state of Florida.
So why would you call yourself a church?
Just wait, Rob. In the midst of a viral pandemic and national emergency like nothing seen for more than a century, the above-captioned defendants are exploiting the crisis by marketing a powerful industrial bleach to consumers as a remedy for coronavirus, the government has said in its lawsuit. And they've put out this sort of temporary injunction and made an announcement. They made an announcement about it. Right, so Genesis was selling MMS online and describes it as a sacrament. Rob.
Oh, my sweet Lord.
Yeah. Attempting to purchase the product today leads to an error page that says, and I love this, Rob. It says, this is surely going to become a documentary on Netflix, this whole thing. In quotes, "We are currently in prayer. During these difficult and trying times, we are in prayer and seeking the Lord's wisdom and guidance. Please pray for us." Genesis' main website calls the organisation a non-religious church that aims to restore health to the world, which was, in quotes, "formed for the purpose of serving mankind and not for the purpose of worship." Despite a previous warning, the Genesis 2 Church of Healing has continued to actively place consumers at risk by peddling potentially dangerous and unapproved chlorine dioxide products. Can I just say, potentially dangerous and unapproved chlorine dioxide products is a really good episode title.
Unfortunately, it is. So just to say, the church that I mentioned in the UK, they're based in Camberwell. You can look this up, and they were selling.
Oh my! It doesn't surprise me.
They were selling a very similar product which contained bleach, and basically it was this healing kit, which I think was selling for about 90 quid, which contained like this small vial of what contained bleach, and also a ball of red yarn, which apparently, if you had it on your person, would protect you from the coronavirus.
No, I've got the red yarn. I've got the red.
Oh, does that work?
Well, I haven't had it yet, the coronavirus, so that's proof that it does. Rob, prepare yourself for this. Genesis was founded by Jim Humble, a former Scientologist who claims he's a billion-year-old god from the Andromeda galaxy. But it's not a church.
That's very close to how the Church of Scientology was founded.
Yes. The group pitches MMS as a miracle potion that can cure anything from cancer to the common cold. Genesis, in quotes, disputes that MMS is bleach, noting it's not the same as liquid bleach one might buy in a grocery store.
Oh, I'm sorry. I appreciate this is bleach. I'm not saying it's not bleach. It's just this is a miracle bleach, and this one here, that's to clean your worktops. Entirely different.
In a Genesis website post on April the 4th, they issued an official plea for COVID-19 testimonies. Yeah? Because they want to, in quotes, prove to the world that the Genesis 2 church sacraments work to cleanse the body of disease, and that Jim Humble made an incredible formula to truly create a world without disease. And the FDA has obviously warned customers. They said last week it's not approved Genesis product for any use. But Genesis' response has been the following, Rob. "Don't try and tell me there's an emergency situation in our nation that justifies this action. There can't be an emergency that can make a command of God null and void, especially one in regard to the free exercise of our church." Genesis also claimed it isn't selling MMS because it distributes the product in exchange for donations. So they're not selling it, Rob.
Okay.
Yeah? You donate and you get it in response. Do you see?
But they're not giving it away for free, though, are they?
No. Okay, Rob. You got a story for us. Or some stories, even.
Yeah, we've got two stories, which are both from the US, because I'm struggling in the UK, because unfortunately there seems to be that, there's just not a lot of comedic stories out there.
Well, it would make sense, Rob, that if in the lockdown most people are at home, there aren't going to be many local news stories because the journalists can't go and report them and people aren't really out there doing much.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to turn to the US, where obviously there have been protests about this kind of shit. So let's go over the pond. So my first story is from CNN, from the 2nd of May, so literally the day before. Headline. Oh, the author is by Scotty Andrew, which is a great name. Again, who names their child Scotty? Right, headline. A lawyer dressed as a Grim Reaper is haunting Florida beaches to protest their reopening.
There was a guy, I didn't feature it actually, but there's a guy over here that's been parading around fields and shit wearing that black outfit
a plague
people wore
costume
during the plague.
No, I think they were, as far as I'm aware, they were quack doctors. They were plague doctors, which had the long sort of like
that's terrifying.
It is. One of our listeners actually submitted that story. Right. So, most Floridians hitting the newly reopened beaches are trading stay-at-home sweatpants for shorts and swimsuits. But when he heads out, Daniel Olfeld dons a raggedy black cloak, conceals his face with a black cloth, and wields his scythe.
Not a euphemism.
No. Olfeld, an attorney, is haunting Florida beaches dressed as the Grim Reaper to protest their reopening, which he believes is premature.
Sorry, Roman. What's his point? Why is he doing this?
He's protesting against the beaches reopening.
Good for him.
I completely agree. He's basically saying that there's not enough testing going on in the state. He feels that it's premature for the state to reopen the beaches, given that the virus is still we're talking about in the country where the number of confirmed cases is the highest in the world. So this is his form of protest.
But if he's just walking up to people lying on the beach, like you're lying there sunbathing, you look up, you got the Grim Reaper standing over you, and does he say your time has come? Or I like the idea that he's threatening people.
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to touch people. To walk up to sunbathers and say, your death is impending. That might freak them out. I think
he must be saying something though. I don't think he's just walking up and down the beach dressed as a Grim Reaper, is he?
That would be the suggestion, yeah. Or
does he occasionally take off the costume, go for a nice dip in the sea, and come out and put it back on again? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. It'd be quite a spectacle to see the Grim Reaper stripping down to his boxer shorts and just walking into the sea.
I think it would nullify the sort of general feeling of dread that the Grim Reaper gives off to see that it's actually just
Yeah. So yeah, that's what he's doing. And yeah, again, as you said, Alex, I completely understand where he's coming from. I think he's absolutely right. I think it's quite concerning that Florida's reopening beaches, considering that I think they haven't even reached their peak as far as I'm concerned.
Maybe this that shitty waxwork museum will do the same job. Maybe if we get starting reopening things, that should be the first thing that gets opened. Everybody can flock down there and be presented with a basically hall full of what look like resurrected zombies, and will be so terrified and so concerned about death again that they go back home.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's worth a shot. Right, my second story, which is also from the States, is from ABC News. It's WMAR, which is Baltimore, so Maryland. And the headline, Tawny Town Police remind residents to wear pants while checking mailbox.
Right, okay. But wouldn't you always do that? Coronavirus or not, why would you? I'd never wander out. Obviously, in America, like in the suburbs, you'll have a mailbox outside. But when I go outside to, use a recycling bin or whatever, I'd always make sure I had pants on.
Yeah, I think maybe in some parts of the US and probably in some parts of the UK and maybe around the world, I think people are just getting more lax about these social conventions. I think the norms have started to basically go out the window. So I think people are just.
I wonder how many people are knocking around their houses naked during all this.
I think it would be staggeringly high.
Really? Well, I'm not part of that statistic, and neither are you. Well, you might be naked from the waist down, for all I know.
I would like to neither deny or confirm that suggestion. But why not, Alex? If you're at home and you know that if you're not expecting maybe a delivery or anything like this, why would you not just? Why would you waste a day's washing when you can just let things dangle free?
It can get in the way, Rob.
It depends what you're doing, Al. if you're going to trap it in the washing machine or I don't know, get caught in the toaster.
All right. Anyway, what's this story about?
Yeah. So this is by Jim Hager and Brandon Ingram. So Taunty, Maryland. That's where the story's coming from. So in this newfound era of stay home and save lives comes this Facebook post from Taunty Police. Please remember to put on pants before leaving the house to check your mailbox. I know a friend that used to do it, and he lives in Taunty, said Mackenzie Carter when she learned of the post. In a town of about 7,000 residents, the post represents a well-kept secret. Yes, I have seen that person, confirmed Nancy McCormick as she unloaded groceries at one of the town's supermarkets. The one who's going to the mailbox, we asked? No, I haven't seen that person. So it's very strange. So she obviously knows someone who goes to the mailbox, maybe bottomless, I don't know, but apparently not the person in question. It's very confusing. For now, no one knows who the person is, or their gender for that matter, but there's speculation. Do you think they're talking about a girl or a guy? A guy, Carter replied. Why? Because I don't think a girl would do that, she explained.
No, I don't think a girl would do that either, but I'd be less offended if it was a woman than a man.
Yes, but I that's no. I think.
And I don't know if women would feel the same way in reverse. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really funny to me, said Tiffany Robertson. It's funny how men can go in their underwear and just have a good day. It's really nice. Hey, you have to have the breeze somehow,
We do need to make clear that when it says without pants, that's our equivalent of trousers. So they're not naked. They're going out with
Yeah.
like boxer shorts on. Which I don't. Is that an issue?
But again, we don't know. We are speculating. It doesn't say that they're. I mean, she says that they're speculating it is in the underwear. So I'm assuming that is the case. And then the post ends with an ominous note which reads, "You know who you are. This is your final warning."
That's from the post office themselves, isn't it? Who've tweeted that out?
That's from the police. That's from the police saying, obviously, that they've obviously warned this individual to put some pants on before you're checking your letters. We've told you once. Stop it.
So if this is a final warning, what's next? Is it shoot to kill?
I think so, yeah. I think they just have going to have marksmen trained on his house, and as soon as he opens that front door, as soon as they can see his tidy whities, bang, dead.
Okay, Rob, I got some extraordinary stories for you now, for you and our listeners, obviously. This is from The Metro. By Richard Hartley Parkinson. On May the 1st.
What a name.
I know. May the 1st. This is a great story. Mum drinks sperm smoothies to fight off coronavirus. Now, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to go to this story, and I'll explain why in a bit. But
Okay.
a mother of two believes that drinking smoothies with a shot of sperm have helped to boost her immune system and prevent coronavirus. Tracy Kiss, 32, says she's not had a cold or flu for 3 years because of her concoction, which is made, Rob, using donations from her boyfriend. And she takes 3 shots a week.
Is this in the States?
No.
Oh,
She's a personal trainer who lives in Aylesbury.
Right.
She says, I found a free and vegan-friendly alternative method to boost the body's immune system. You don't always know what's in pharmaceutical medicine. It's much better for the body to drink something that doesn't contain chemicals. It isn't much different to a mother breastfeeding her newborn to give them the nutrients they need. I wonder if it's him, Rob, that at some point sold her on this idea. Hey, look, it's no different than a mother breastfeeding a baby. This will give you all the nutrients you need.
I mean, either way, it's grim. I mean, also, is my concern is she's just making a smoothie, and then does she just then ask for his contribution?
No, Rob, stop. It isn't for everyone, she says, but it's packed full of vitamins, and I haven't had a cold or flu since drinking it in 2017. I also put it on my face to clear up my skin. The remedy the remedy has not been verified. By the way, I'm looking at the smoothie now. It's a very sort of dark, it looks green, looks like something out of a bog, right?
You need to get that checked out.
Yeah, but it's not. That's not all his sperm. It's a shot of it in there. Right?
Oh, I see. Right.
The remedy has not been verified by the World Health Organization. No shit. Tracy continued, it's best to consume semen as close to production as possible to get the most nutrients and benefits, but I often shove it in the freezer in an ice cube tray, as my partner, who does not wish to be named, and I are in a long-distance relationship. So they don't live together, right? They're in a long-distance relationship, so he must have to do this and send it to her, and she puts it in Rob. She puts it in cold storage. Rob's got his head in his hands, listeners.
Sorry, so she's in a relationship with a man who just sends her sperm in the post. I don't want to. I'm not trying to be redactive here, but
yeah, she could be. And I don't know. Anyway,
you could get locked up for that.
The quantity depends on how hydrated my boyfriend is on the day. I sometimes have a shot or disguise the taste in a smoothie with fresh berries and bananas. I'm strictly looking at this from a health perspective. I think a lot of people try new ways to boost their immune system when they start presenting symptoms, but that's too late. You must make your immune system strong prior to an illness to ensure you can fight it off. Tracy believes semen consumption will prevent coronavirus as she leads an active, healthy lifestyle, and the supplement has helped her immune system. She adds, the smoothies aren't any different from drinking honey and lemon water when you have a sore throat.
No,
it's just another natural.
They are.
It's just another natural remedy, but completely free. You don't have to have a partner. You could just ask a male friend who is healthy.
Alex, I think this is a myth as well. I don't think semen does have a high nutritional and mineral content. I think this is a misconception. I think you're right. I think her boyfriend is convinced that this is the way forward.
Possibly. But Rob,
the fact that she actually says in the article that she uses other things to disguise the taste implies that she doesn't like doing it.
Right, Rob. Just now go on to Google and put in mum drinks sperm smoothies coronavirus.
Do I have to do this?
Yes, it's worth it. And then I just want you to, because I want you to see the pictures of Tracy Kiss, and then you can and scroll down because there are a few of them, and they're it's probably worth looking at all of them.
Yeah. Oh, blimey. Okay. Oh my god, that smoothie looks absolutely repulsive.
You're going to see the pictures of the frozen lot.
Yeah,
Do you have anything to say about Tracy, Rob?
well, she's obviously a very attractive young lady. What I'm slightly
She's got
concerned
enhancements, hasn't she, Rob? She's got enhancements. Let's put it
Yeah,
like
she
that.
has. Yeah,
And
yeah.
what I will say about that is that we're always told, Rob, that in this coronavirus pandemic there will be 2 peaks.
Yeah, you're right. Can I also make a point?
Sorry, poor joke.
You know the ice cube tray? Is it just
Yeah.
me, but that semen is very yellow.
No, that's the fucking plastic of the tray. It's not in there. That's an empty one.
Oh, right.
Otherwise, yeah, he would need to get that checked out. What a brilliant story,
Maybe
right?
just sending her mustard.
Right, let's move on. This is such a good story, Rob, from the Traitorous Guardian. I'm going to put some romantic music on.
Right.
Because
oh, God. Okay.
This is a love story. And it's from the 14th of April 2020 by Jim Waterson. Are you ready?
Yes.
Headline: Woman's attraction to chandeliers is not a sexual orientation, ruling says.
I'm really confused.
Right, Rob, I guarantee you, or you get your money back, that this first paragraph will clear up any confusion you have.
Okay.
A British woman in a long-term relationship with a 92-year-old German chandelier has been told that her attraction to historic light fittings is not considered to be a protected sexual orientation. There are so many episode titles in that paragraph, Rob. I love the phrase attraction to historic light fittings.
Yeah, that's not something that comes up a lot. I mean, I know that there is a genuine medical condition about people who are attracted to inanimate objects. Like the woman who apparently was married to the Berlin Wall.
Rob, presumably Sarah would fit under this category, wouldn't she? Your wife, because she is presumably attracted to a lamppost.
Why am I a lamppost?
Well, it's just it's a derogatory term, isn't it? Yeah. Have you ever heard that phrase? If you call somebody a lamppost, or is it South East London thing?
No, I've never heard of that, Alex. That's why I look confused right now.
It's somebody who's generally stupid and dim-witted, but you know, it was meant to be a crude joke.
I'm glad I asked.
It didn't really work. The press regulator Rob Ipso made the ruling after Amanda Liberty, which is a brilliant name,
Amanda Liberty?
from Leeds in her mid-30s, complained about an article in The Sun mocking her public declaration of love for Lumiere, her name for an intricate chandelier lamp she bought on eBay. She argued that the newspaper's article breached the regulator's code of conduct, which requires publishers to avoid prejudicial or pejorative references to an individual's sexuality. Amanda Liberty identifies as an objectum sexual, an individual who's attracted to objects. She objected to being included in an end-of-year article by Sun columnist Jane Moore, which nominated her for a Dagenham Award, which means 2 stops past barking, as in saying
Nice,
she's
yeah,
absolutely
I've heard
nuts,
that before, yeah.
simply because of her sexual attraction. She also raised concerns about the accuracy of the newspaper's reporting after the article referred to her being married to the chandelier. She pointed out that she's in a relationship with the chandelier but not yet married to it. I like the word yet in there.
I like the idea that the chandelier just doesn't want that commitment.
Exactly. Anyway, you get the idea of that story. But, you know, Ipso have struck that down and said, well, that's not a protected sexuality, so you've got to live with being mocked and ridiculed.
I think that's the right decision, Alan, personally.
Yeah. Last story, Rob, again from the Metro. Jen Mills, 23rd of April. Now, I did text you asking you to avoid this story during the week. Drunk who beat lollipop man with his own stick. Smeared police cell with poo.
That sounds like the natural progression, yeah.
I will say now, the lollipop man didn't die. That would be an awful way to go, wouldn't it, when you've got to go to the funeral, if you were a lollipop man who was beaten to death with his own lollipop stick. I don't think you'd mention that in the eulogy, would you?
No.
At least he died doing what he loved most.
Also, I'm not entirely sure. I think you'd be there for a long time because I just imagine those sticks are pretty flimsy.
But it would also be the irony that presumably the lollipop man being beaten to death would be shouting "stop" throughout the experience.
Oh my sweet lord! Let's not make that joke.
This is a pure day-to-day.
Stop! He's already dead.
Right, Rob, you know we love a good rampage.
Of course.
Yeah? And I do like rampages that sort of move from one rampaging activity to the next and sort of escalate. This is the definition of a rampage. A man who racially abused a taxi driver, beat a lollipop man with his own stick, and then smeared a police cell with feces has been jailed. Disgusting Daryl Jones, 33. I don't think that's his full name.
I hope it is.
They're calling him disgusting. Began the rampage by getting drunk in the afternoon and lashing out at the cabbie taking him and his friends home. After refusing to pay the taxi fare, Jones threatened to stab and kill the taxi driver unless he drank from his can of beer.
So I'm confused.
That reminds me of Bottom, Rob, when they have the gas man. And drink my tea! Drink your tea! And they force the tea down him. The guy who's in the cab, Daryl Jones, disgusting Daryl Jones, has a can of beer. He's pissed.
Right.
And he says to the cab driver, drink my beer. The cab driver's like, no, thank you, I'm driving. It's illegal to drink and drive. And he tries to force him to drink the beer. And when the taxi driver refuses, he says, I'm going to kill and stab and kill you, unless you drink from my can of beer.
Alex, I think it's. I mean, let's be fair. The taxi driver was very rude not to offer a sip from the can that had been
generously offered.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, good point, Rob. Unemployed Jones. So he's now gone from disgusting to unemployed. Unemployed Jones.
There must be an episode title in there, the disgusting and unemployed tales of
Daryl Jones. Rob, I like the idea that in some sort of future conservative Britain dystopia, all of us are known, our first names are stripped, right? So only our surnames are kept, but we're all known by an adjective that the Conservative Party best describes us. So for people who don't work, they'd be unemployed Smith, right? Or feckless Roberts, right? Or, freeloader Jones, etc. Can you think of any other pejorative terms they could use to describe the British public?
Well, I think it would be, you need at least druggy or drunks, or they would have to be featured in there somewhere.
Deadbeat Phillips.
Deadbeat Phillips is a good one. That just sounds like that should be a cartoon. Deadbeat Phillips.
But of course, they'd all have very nice, it would be things like Honourable Johnson. Yeah.
I'll show you my Honourable Johnson. Sorry.
Right, anyway, let's get on with it. So, he demanded the terrified cabbie's... So after this, Rob, he demanded the terrified cabbie's phone charger before punching him in the face, shouting racial abuse out the window at a passerby. He then fled the taxi but forgot his glasses, his phone, his driving licence and his bank card. He staggered... That's a lot of things to lose from your pocket, Rob.
It is.
He then, Rob, I love this story. So you with me so far? He then staggered off alone to a nearby nursery and primary school where he attacked a lollipop man with his own stick.
Oh my God.
He hurled racist insults at children and then, Rob, I love this, punched the windscreen of a Fiat 500.
As you would, Alex.
The inclusion of the Fiat 500 in this is what makes that, Rob, that sentence.
It really is. And also, if you ask me, I think the Fiat 500 is really one of the most... It's a really smug car. So it had it coming.
Yeah. Right, so because this continues, so I just want to go to where we are so far, right? He's been in a cab, yeah? Yep. He's threatened to stab and kill the taxi driver if he doesn't drink from his can of beer. He's then asked for a phone charger, punched the taxi driver, and shouted racial abuse out of a window at passers-by. He's then got out of the cab, leaving all his belongings in the cab, and staggered off alone to a nursery and primary school where he's hurled racist insults at the children and then beaten a lollipop man with his own stick. Then he punched the windscreen of a Fiat 500, which smashed before, Rob, collapsing in a bush after being confronted by parents.
I think we are judging this man unfairly, if you ask me. I think, to be fair... that sounds like a good day out. Doesn't get a lot better than that.
Police arrived and arrested him, but he threatened, because he thought, I need to up the ante.
Yep.
He threatened to spit into the officers' faces before being locked in a custody suite where the police found that he smeared the entire cell, in quotes, with his own feces.
Really? The entire cell?
He's from Birmingham, so I should have said that earlier. I mean, makes sense.
We're not making any associations with the good people of the West Country, the Midlands, not West Country.
He's been jailed for 35 months. Speaking after the sentencing at Birmingham Crown Court, PC Amanda Winter of West Midlands Police said Jones' behaviour was completely unacceptable and quite frankly, downright disgusting.
That's fair.
We welcome the sentence he has received and we wish to thank the numerous victims, I like that, and the community for their resilience and bravery when confronting this man. That, I think, we got to give him Rampage of the Year.
What a great story that was.
Okay, Rob. I feel exhausted after those stories. You got a listener story for us?
I have indeed, yep. So this is from Khyber.
Khyber.
The website, which I haven't heard of before, is the Trustville Tribune, which is Alabama.
Trust-filled? Sorry,
Trustville.
Oh, I want to live in Trustville. I wonder if people really are trustworthy there.
It's in Alabama.
It's in Alabama?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
So the story is by Joshua
Look, can I just say, Khyber really is a purist. He's gone for the local version of this story. Yeah. He's gone to the fucking local paper. Good on you, Khyber. We've never had a story before from the Trustville Tribune. This might be the only time we have it. Shout out to the good people who work at the Trustville Tribune.
This might, as you said before, this might be the only time we ever feature their paper. It may not be, but who knows? So it's by Joshua Huff. It goes back to last year, but that makes no difference. Headline: Alabama Walmart reopens after man sets fire to shopping cart in brazen diversionary tactic.
I want to know what it was a diversionary tactic for. But of course it is a good diversionary tactic. I would be perturbed if I saw a flaming trolley of death, Rob, in the middle of a supermarket or aisle, or Walmart aisle.
Absolutely. So this took place in Valley in Alabama. So an East Alabama Walmart reopened on Thursday following its closure after a man created a diversion with a flaming shopping cart and attempted to skip past security guards with a cart full of groceries.
Right, Rob, how do you set fire to a shopping cart? I've been to Walmarts before. Maybe they're plastic, actually, so it'd be easier. But if it was a metal one, how would you set fire to it?
So what he
metal won't catch fire, will it?
Well, we'll come on to that. No. But I think it was the items that he set fire to in the cart.
Oh, I see.
Then just the one sentence: the attempt failed. So basically, what he did was he filled.
It's a great idea, Rob.
It is. Yeah, it is.
It is a great idea.
So he filled one shopping cart with flammable materials and set fire to it. Well, actually,
oils, that kind of thing.
What
else would be flammable in the supermarket? Well, lots of it would be flammable, but what would be the most flammable things? I'm thinking cooking oil would do it.
I think deodorants as well.
Alcohol.
Links, you get links to spray it, cover everything links and just set fire to that. That'll go up like a light, literally.
Yeah.
The Chambers County Development
Authority...
Sorry,
can I just ask you something? Do you still use links?
I have recently.
I knew it.
But the reason being is because I found it that it's in terms of their antiperspirant, it's one of the best I've actually found. What?
No, this is a bit partridge. Okay. Is it actually? Okay.
No, it generally is. Better than Dove, sure. It's one of the that I found works the best.
Would you have a particular preference of links?
Africa, obviously.
Is it Africa, Rob?
No, of course it's not Africa, no.
What is it?
It's just I've literally no idea what it's called. It's just the one that has it's got the white stain protect on it. I don't know, Alex. I know what it looks like, but I couldn't tell what it's called.
Is it a spray?
Yeah. It's antiperspirant. I don't know what it's called though.
Does it smell good?
Yeah. It smells fine. Doesn't smell like I have to shit myself, so that's a bonus.
Anybody struggling with sweating right now, Rob recommends Lynx as a particularly good antiperspirant. I might try it, Rob.
Thank you. I don't know what else to say.
Local anaesthetic, sponsored by Lynx. Antiperspirant when you need it.
Just a quote saying, it's fine. Right, okay. So the Chambers County Development Authority said on Tuesday that the store, located on 19th Avenue in Valley, Alabama, is officially open. According to the Lafayette Sun, Troy Malloy Brown, 28, is alleged to have loaded up the shopping cart with flammable objects and then set fire to it in the home decor section. Video footage captures Brown then moving to another part of the store and retrieving a shopping cart full of groceries. He attempted to flee the store with a loaded shopping cart as the first cart burned, but was stopped by the Walmart associate at the door and was made to part with the groceries.
Yeah, because wouldn't it have worked better if he'd somehow positioned the burning cart? I don't know how, because without making obvious that he'd set fire to it, but nearer to the front of the store so the security guards ran out to it and then he could have got out. His problem is he did it all the way at the back at that fucking Home Depot section.
Exactly. For all he knew, no one had actually spotted the fire, and by that point he was already waiting by the door with his cart full of his groceries. Yeah,
the only thing is, Rob, is the rather sad element to this story, and that is that has to be one desperate person to do that.
Yes, yeah. Let's not think about that. Let's just focus on the comedy element.
All right, yeah.
Brown was picked
what
up
a
in
twat.
Brown was picked up in a silver van. He was subsequently found at his residence. He attempted to resist arrest, but was tasered. He faces charges of burglary in the second degree, arson in the first degree.
He was tasered. Fuck, man.
Yeah. As I said, he faced charges of burglary in the second degree, arson in the first degree, and criminal mischief in the first degree.
And he's now been given the death sentence.
Correct, because it was Alabama.
Well, okay. On that rather somber note, Rob,
he's not dead.
We leave this episode of Local Anaesthetic behind. Well, not quite, because we've still got our headlines to feature, the headlines which never made it. But before that, I do like to remind you that, of course, we do look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to episode 313, Rob.
Yes.
313 sounds ominous. As we move ever more forward, Rob, like a man getting into a taxi cab, blind drunk, threatening to stab and kill a taxi driver when he refused to take a sip from his beer, punching the taxi driver, exiting the cab, losing all one's belongings, hurling abuse, racial abuse at passers-by, beating a lollipop man with a stick, collapsing into a bush, being arrested, being taken to a jail cell, and smearing the entire cell with our own excrement. Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode, which will be episode 313. We are on our website, lapodcast.net. All of our episodes can be downloaded from there if you like doing it that kind of manual way. We're on Spotify. We're on all the podcast apps. Wherever you download us from, can you leave us a review or hit subscribe? We really appreciate that. On Facebook, facebook.com/LA Podcast. We are on Twitter at LA Podcast. And if you want to feature a story on this podcast, you can post it on Facebook or on the forum there that's on Facebook, the listener forum, or tweet it to us, or email us the good old-fashioned way. Send it to lapodcast.net@gmail.com. That is lapodcast.net@gmail.com. Rob, it is time. I might put some music on underneath this, from now on. This little headlines that never made it.
Okay.
Royalty free, of course, but yeah, I'm going to put some on now. You like that, Rob?
Yes, lovely, Al. Really something.
Good. So, I'll start, Rob. Headlines that never made it this week. Mock defrocked and arrested after allegedly shooting man in the testicles.
Sorry, what was defrocked?
A monk.
Oh,
he was
monk.
defrocked and arrested after allegedly shooting man in the testicles.
Right.
This happened. He shot. Basically, he was having a running feud with another monk, and this ended with him shooting the other monk in the testicles, which is very monk-like behaviour.
Yeah, it's the story is old as time, that one. Right, so the first one from me. Cornish shop asks customers to prove localness if they want to buy anything.
How do you? How would you do that?
I don't. Maybe utility bill, maybe council tax bill.
Right. California City official resigns after allegedly throwing cat during Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I saw that video.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
He didn't really hurl it across the room, did he?
Yeah, I was personally offended by that.
Okay.
Now, I did want to maybe feature the story, but there's just not enough detail, so this is why it's in here. By the way, I should have said at the beginning, these are all listener stories, by the way. So I think they're all from Amy, so thank you, Amy. Headline: Donkey rescued after getting hoof stuck in kettle.
How the fuck? What? No, I can understand. It was probably like a 1-paragraph story. Brilliant.
It wasn't even that. It was literally a sentence. There was no detail, and it was crying out for context, but there was nothing.
Yeah. This is from America, Rob. You know where they receive their stimulus checks, which is the kind of, like the equivalent of our kind of furlough, isn't it? So you're getting a sort of money from the government. Man angry about stimulus check sets shed on fire. I just loved that. That was his protest. Like, I can't survive on this. What shall I do? I'll set fire to my shed.
I feel that he's doing himself a disservice by doing that.
Rob, what's even better? Because I know it's the headlines didn't make it, so I'm cheating. But fire marshals in Louisiana say a man set his mother's shed on fire out of anger that he didn't get a federal stimulus check amid the coronavirus pandemic. So, I don't get a stimulus check. How am I going to survive? To protest, I'm going to set my mother's shed on fire.
Bizarre, Alex. Absolutely bizarre. Right. Novelty toilet roll cakes keep Finnish baker in business.
Sorry?
So,
what the fuck is a toilet roll cake?
A Finnish baker basically has baked this cake, which looks like a toilet roll, which apparently is selling very well and supporting his business.
I wonder if people are using that cake to wipe their behinds with.
Maybe.
I'm done.
Okay. So my last one. So the Finnish toilet roll, I think that was actually from me. I found that story, but I didn't want to feature it. And the last one, which is from Amy. Speeding driver tells police he broke virus lockdown to drive 120 miles for cheap bread.
Please read me that story, Rob.
All it was just basically a man who was driving from Nottingham to London because apparently he claimed he saw a cheap loaf of bread in the supermarket, and so decided to drive down the M1 to buy this loaf of bread.
Right. Okay. Just want to analyse this a second, Rob.
Do you want me to bring the story up?
Well, I would like to know how cheap this loaf of bread was. Yes, I really would. So, Rob, what to you would constitute a cheap loaf of bread? Typically, a loaf of bread costs about £1.30. £1.20, doesn't it? £1.30 nowadays.
Yeah, so I would speculate that anything under £1, I would say, is a cheap loaf of bread. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, so the man was driving down the M1 at 10:40 p.m, so 20 to 11 at night.
What?
He had his 2 children in the car. And he was driving to the capital, quote, and I'll quote the article, because a loaf of bread was £1 cheaper there during the coronavirus outbreak.
Right. So the obvious thing which springs to mind is you would spend more on that on petrol.
Yeah, he also got a £60 fine as well. So,
but his plan from the beginning was flawed. Didn't he calculate his costs?
Apparently not, Alex. Alex said he was...
How long is the drive? How long is that drive?
I would say you're probably talking about 2.5, 3 hours. Although he was driving...
Where did you say he lived?
Nottingham. And he was driving to London.
Right, yeah. Okay, no traffic probably. But yeah, good 2 hours. Petrol, I mean, this man's an idiot. So let's say a £5 on petrol, 60 quid, £65 for a loaf of bread.
Yeah. But obviously, I don't think he would have been stopped if he hadn't been driving down the M1 at 110 miles an hour.
With kids in the back.
With kids in the car.
What a dick. Right. Okay. Brilliant way to end the podcast. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We do enjoy your company. You know, look, we're all a bit lonely at the moment. It's very difficult, this current lockdown period. But Rob, I feel the presence of the listeners when we do this
yeah, I know what you mean.
Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a euphemism.
No, I think you're right.
Thank you. We will be back. Our next episode is going to be another episode of Daft Talk. Is it episode 4 or 5? I can't remember.
5.
Really? God, it's snowballing, Rob. Episode 5 of Daft Talk will be next. After that, I'll be back with LA Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless.
And keep it local.